right now, right here, right now, I'm going to cover 3 or 4 different kinds of double lifts. I'm sure one of which will be in your skill level, and they all have their different virtues and looks for sure. Here we go. Let's take a look. The double lift. The double lift I tend to use the most is what's called a strike double. Okay. And I think I first learned this from a John Mendoza book a long time ago, and it's one of these things that comes down to a knack, where there's no get ready. You come over, you hit, and the idea is that as you hit, you kind of immediately, the cards are spreading, and you immediately get, if you get lucky, you can feel right away, oh, I got 2, okay? And notice, the deck isn't square, it's actually beveled. You push it a little bit to one side in your hand. It's pushed off a little bit, which makes the edges of the cards, you can get to them better. You can feel that, okay? Now, sometimes you feel, oh my God, I got 4, 3 or 4, and what you have to do is you have to kind of open up the gap a little bit to let one card flip off, okay? And you'll find that. But again, I mean, when you're not performing for an unblinking camera, when you're performing for real people, you can, they are there. I can cover myself. I can gesture and turn a little bit here. And now, I can, with the angle of it, and it's all back here, even if I have to take 2 times to get to it, I'll still get to it. Then I come back around and I'm turning, okay? So that's the one I use by far and away the most. It's a strike double where you got 2, firm thumb on top, fingers below, you turn it over. And typically when you turn over, when you turn it over and you lay it down on the thumb, the flesh of the thumb right here, because you're actually turning it over, it's hitting not square onto the deck, but a little bit on the flesh, the base of the thumb, which means that it keeps a break. Which means that if I just bevel it like this now and let the fingers off, it's already ready for another turnover. That way, I can start with no get ready, turn over the top card, and turn it back over. Okay? Nice, relaxed look to it. And again, unless you want to be a superstar, tilt your hand down a little bit, so there's less chance of the front edge of doubles card. So that's the strike double. The other one I've used a lot is a double 2-card push-off. Looks like this, where you're coming over here, pushing off. It's got a nice look to it. And what you're doing is, the key is there against the base of the thumb, where you're pushing off. You're pushing off, and you get 2 cards spread, and then when you pull back with your thumb, they kind of square. You're going to pull back with your thumb. The tip of your middle right finger is going to hit the corner, and they're going to square up. So it's push, contact, pull back, and square. Push off, finger connects, you pull back, and you're immediately going to turn off the base of the thumb. Okay? This, I'd say, depends on your hands. Some would find this easier, some would find it harder, but it allows for a nice crisp double, that's for sure. Okay, that's a double push-off. When you're a younger magician, typically what you do is you're using get-readies. And in this case, again, we're going to get ready for a double lift. While your hands come together, all you do here is the right thumb. You could even the right thumb riffles up the back edge of the pack until you get 1, 2 riffling off. And then you have your double, fingers on the front, thumb there, and you show like that. Okay? It looks more controlled, it looks less natural for sure, but it's still very deceptive. And if you're just starting out in magic, it's not a bad double lift to go with. Okay? The other one I use a lot is where I take a card off and I flick it for a second. I put my finger up here and down. Okay? Take it, finger flick. And while my hand's turning over, I just push off the top card a little bit and then pull it back, get a break with a pinky. Push it off, pull it back, you got a break. So off it comes. Put it right back on, and you always get it. Nice thing about that is there's no fudging around. It comes off, you only have 1 card, because it's easy to push off 1 and get a break under 1. And now you're going to have 2. Okay? So those are my thoughts. The thing with the double lift, though, is, it's practice. It's practice, but it's definitely, if you're serious about card magic in any way, particularly ambitious card, you need to get a double lift down for sure. So focus on one, practice them all, play with them a bit, and then you're going to find yourself drawn to one in particular. Thank you, Ed Marlowe. Thank you, Ed Marlowe. Thank you. Huh? We owe Ed Marlowe a lot when it comes to card magic. On this project, I'm going to share with you a few of Eddie's. He had libraries full of great ideas. A few of the classic ones, of course. Here's one, Tilt. Tilt. T-I-L-T. Tilt is just a classic move, and it's perfect for ambitious card. Let's take a look at it. So the illusion is that you take the card and you put it somewhere in the deck. Okay? Snap your fingers and it comes right up to the top. Beautiful illusion. Now, what in fact you're doing is when you show the card here, the left hand naturally rolls a bit and you draw attention here. And the left hand having rolled, what you're doing is this. Look at the grip here. Fingers, finger and thumb. Is you're pushing it off to the side, and this will take a little practice, there's no question. You're pushing it off to the side, getting your fingers underneath, and then pushing it up, just with the tip of the finger there. So it's still flat on the front, but it's angled up. It's sort of like a ramp, a reverse ramp or whatever, okay? Again, you push, pull, and push up, okay? So, and again, depending on your angles, I mean, you can do a little bit of a tilt where it's just a little bit, or you could do a more pronounced tilt where you've got, you know, a good, I don't know, half, 3/4 of an inch there. All depends. Now, so that's the first part of the illusion. And the cover for that, like I said, is you turn the hand over, you turn this, and you'll find that with practice you'll be able to do it so that by the time you come back down, when you put the deck back up, you're into the illusion. So you're here. Now, you can just put it like that, and the depth perception, the illusion is beautiful. It's actually just going for second from the top, which is a great illusion, okay? Or a little addition to it that lots of people use is you're here, and first tap it against the middle of the deck, okay? So you get this nice illusion. They see the card coming out there, and then slip it back in so it's actually second from the top. And then you square that in, do a double lift, and you have a beautiful, just a lovely, and of course, now that you're into the double lift situation, you're now set to repeat the exact same action, okay? But you can do it in the front if you want to really sort of post-sell, as I call it. So in performance, it's a card. They see the card. You take it, you slip it in, snap your fingers, double lift, comes to the top. A really beautiful sequence. We need to talk about the false cut. There's a whole trend in magic these days where everybody's doing the wacky, wacky false cut. Well, I got this false cut. And of course, the problem with it is it draws too much attention to your false cut. It's supposed to be convincing, not so much a demonstration of fireworks. It ain't July 4th. Show me a card trick. So, false cut. I really only use the one, frankly. Well, maybe there's the other 4. Just 2. I use 2. 1, double undercut, which I'm going to show you now because I know you might be very advanced thinking, oh, you're going to teach the double undercut. I think I learned that in vitro. But there'll be newbies. There'll be people just go, I'm going to teach you double undercut right now. Also, I'll use a classic pass. Sort of do a real cut and then follow it with a classic pass because that's the way I roll. Anyway, this clip's going to look a little different than the other clips. That's my prerogative. Remember that too? Anyway, here we go. Look, here we go. False cut number 1, very simple. Signed cards here. Now notice with the false cut, if you do it face up, it ain't too deceptivo. Deceptivo. On the other hand, not to be confused with explosivo, which I believe is a Jack Black tune. Rocket, rocket. We're here. That's my favorite false cut, without a doubt. It's in the hands, it's casual. It's just a double undercut, of course. The card's on top. And you do kick cut into your left hand. And you're going to hold a break between the two. Let me show you the exposed view on this one. We are here. I kick cut it over. Keep a break with my thumb. Then with my thumb, I riffle off about half that pack into the hand, bring it back up, and then riffle to the break, bring it back up. Double undercut, it's called. In the hands, it looks very casual. You've got the sign card here. Now, excuse me. Now, as a ambitious card phase, I think it's a little soft. If you're gonna pepper, if at some point you're doing 3 or 4 back to back, boom, 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 and you want to throw in this one, I think there it would work. Where you're going, you've done an ambitious card, boom, it comes to the top. Say, look, I can even cut it twice into the middle of the pack, and still it comes up. But I don't use it that way typically. Typically where I'll use it is in between things, or maybe you're just starting off at some point. But I'm going to refer to it a few times. You'll see there's a false cut and a few other phases I use here. So I want to make sure you had what I think is a very natural looking false cut. Kick cut and double cut. Okay, boom. Really clean, really simple. Now, the classic pass false cut I was talking about before is just that. You're here, you cut the cards, and then on the offbeat, you do your classic pass, okay? And we're going to talk about the classic pass somewhere else on this project. So you just kick, cut, pause, okay? And, I mean, you can even do this, spread about, I don't know how many cards on top, boom, drop that on, and then go into your classic pass, all right? So those are the two false cuts that I use, and they've got me, well, they've served me well over the years. People enjoy watching the cards getting cut a lot more than the cheese, and these are the mouse ears. That'll freshen up. We'll throw that between other things.
Lord knows there are a lot of moves from the good old days that magicians, they don't get. Everybody wants everything to be rough and smooth, or I want a gazinta deck or something. I think the top change.
Top change is so good. Top change is so good. Top change and second deal. These are two things that I use a lot in my ambitious card work, and I'm just going to cover them. I'll cover them right now. What the heck? Cover them together. Top change. Okay. All I'm going to do. Both hands are going to gesture out. They're going to come in. I'm going to push off one card with my thumb, and in continuing action, I'm going to pull back the other card, and that's all I'm going to do. Now, the top change is definitely one of those moves that you're going to be scared to do. But you'll try it once, hopefully get away with it. Try it again, and then after a while, you'll have the confidence. Now, the key, when I do the top change, it's like this. Two hearts. Your right hand, left hand? Right hand. Okay, hold out your right hand for me. So both hands, one's a leader hand. It sort of first focuses here on the right card, then it's there, and then I'm boom, and I'm gesturing. So the left hand really moves through. Now, you're seeing the exposed view. If I were trying to work for the camera, that's obviously I don't want to be low here. What I would do is I gesture here, here, and then go right up into the lens. So if you were a spectator looking right down here, I'd say, what the hell are you looking at? No, I'd say, two hearts. I'd say, are you right-handed, left-handed? Okay, hold it your right hand for me, and I go right up. Hold it your right hand, boom, and I've done the top change, okay? And there's lots of, you can gesture to someone, you're here, and you can gesture to someone on your left. You're saying, let's try this again. I say, well, you don't look like you believe what I'm doing, So you use that left hand to gesture. You're here, boom, okay? It's that simple. There's nothing fancy about it. It's one of those things that's just about practicing, getting comfortable with changing these two cards. And then once you get comfortable enough, incorporating them into some natural body language and performance. Now, the second deal is very similar. Turn over the card, take it in your hand, okay? And you've changed it. Here, changed it. There's the card. I'm going to take it, slip it in the middle of the pack. Okay. Let me show you again. Here, two hearts. Just take it, slip it in the middle. There it is. It's really nice, especially if they're sitting. If they're sitting, because that way you can raise it above their eye level. And all I'm doing here is pushing it off, taking the card below it. Nothing fancy, okay? It's a timing thing. Now, am I going to take it with my right hand, or is my left hand going to basically put it over there? I'm never sure with myself. I sort of do both. But that's the action, and it's about choosing the moment. Now, notice, too, it doesn't make a lot of sense to take the card off, put it on, and take it off, which is why I like the rollover here, where you go, and it's on top again. Hey, how you doing? Look, let's try this again here. Okay? And I'm doing that continuing action. Both hands come together. So that's it. That's the second deal and the top change. They really work. They give you a whole, and what's nice, with both of them, you can end off with, it's just boom, the cards come to the top, so you're ending with a single. You don't have to get into a double and go into it. They're really elegant, classic changes, well worth your time. Speaking of the top change, here's something I've kept to myself for quite some time. I call it the undercover top change, because you're going to do a top change under another object. It can be, let me tell you right now, if you use a business card, you can have a business card with a prediction written on it, okay? And that can be a nice little giveaway at the end there. You can use a folded piece of paper. I like using a folded bill, which I'm going to show you right now. Here's the context. It's going to do a top change underneath. Watch. Let's say, for example, we're going to do this, okay? We'll say, look. You've done it a few times. You say, look, we'll try it again now. In fact, this time I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to bet 20 bucks, okay? And you throw it right on top. Now, I've already set myself up for tilt, okay? So I throw that on top there. I'm here, and I'm going to do tilt. Boom. Okay? Now I say watch. Just like that. Look at this. There. Oh, that didn't work out. Well, you don't laugh. I'm going to get it the next time. Watch. Just like that. There it is. So it's just a top change. And I'm sure on camera it probably looked only so-so. It's just a top change. But a long time ago, I figured out that you could actually do a top change pretty much without any extra effort. Below, you can do it below $50, below a folded bill, below, like I said, a business card. So it's nice to be able to take it again after you've had it. See, I find that one of the ways you can make the ambitious card more interesting as you get near the end of the effect is to bring in other objects, whether it's a roll of masking tape, whether it's a whack of nails, whether it's a folded bill, whether it's paperclip. I'm sure I'll mention it somewhere else in the project, but probably the one thing I end my ambitious card with the very, very most by far and away is paperclip. I know it's a very popular, my effect paperclip now, a special edition is out now with a whole lot of extra handlings and stuff, recent stuff. I know for a fact that it's a way that a lot of magicians around the world end their ambitious card with the paperclip effect. Therein ends the plug. Back to this, yeah, it's just the top change, right? I'm just doing the top change. Same old top change, but with an object on top of it. Lots and lots of potential. There are at least two different schools of thought regarding flourishes. Some say you shouldn't do any flourishes because that only sort of subtly sells the idea or conveys the idea, communicates, transforms, transpires, connotes that what you're doing is done through sleight of hand. The other school says, hey, they kind of know you got fast hands, or so why not show a little bit of flourish, a little bit of skill overtly. Then there's actually the 14th school that says, which I'm a member of, which is when you're out in the real world for performing for real people and you say, hey, you want to see a card trick, or hey, I got a deck of cards, you have to immediately undercut the idea that you're Uncle Harry with one, they have to immediately know. So if you do a flourish, spring the cards or something, or you do something with a little bit of flourish, it's a great way to immediately establish credibility as a real sleight of hand performer, right? So here's this one card turnover thing here. This is a nice little thing. At one time when the card comes up to the top, turn over with one hand. And so you're going to push off with the thumb. And there's your grip. It's actually a little like the classic pass, I guess. These two fingers here. And you'll find, now this is I learned this years ago, okay? And it was so maddening because I had a girlfriend at the time who would, I showed it to her and she got it down before I did. It was just one of those moves that she had some knack for. It took me a while, but pushing it off, clipping between this finger and that finger, okay, I guess it's the third and fourth finger. And the first 20 times or first 100 times you'll do it, it'll be awkward. But eventually, the hand learns how to do it without even thinking about it. And then it's really quite nice. Then, let's say we're doing whatever. Let's say you're going to do Marlowe's tilt. Boom, it comes to the top. Say, look, we'll do it again. We'll take it again. I'll do it at the front here. You're going to see it. Boom, like that. And again, it's on top. So it's a nice little flourish to throw into your ambitious card work. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Thank you, Marlowe. Here's another Marlowe idea, the convincing control. Simon Aronson has also done some work on this. Who else can I think of? I think Kranzel has also been credited with some of the finer points on this, or taking it slightly in a different direction. I have loved the convincing control for a long time. It is a good friend of mine. And the basic idea is you take a cull and you make it a switch. And you combine it with a large action covering a small. And you got a really trustworthy move. This is, I remember when I first started to get this move down pretty smoothly, share it with other magicians, and real friar, So at some point, when you're doing ambitious card and you kind of, you got a certain rhythm going and you boom and you a few times here and you're getting ready for your closer, your last, third of your routine, whatever, it's nice to slow things down. It's nice to stop and sort of do one or two that are test conditions. And this is a nice example of that because you say, look, let's try it again. Once again, we'll take it. I'm going to take the card. You can see it right there. I'm going to leave it. In fact, I'm going to leave it sticking out of the pack so you can keep an eye on it, okay? Now, it's actually on the bottom, and that's an indifferent card, okay? And here's the technique on it, the convincing control. Take the signed card, slip it in the middle of the pack, all right? Spread off, and you need 3 or 4 cards on top of it that are still spread out. Okay, let's go with 4 in this case. And then you come up. Now my right fingers now, this is again, like I said, it is a lot like culling because your right fingers are on this edge of the signed card. My left thumb is going to do this. My left thumb is not going to be holding onto the corner there. I'm actually going to hold on to the bottom left-hand corner of not the selected card, or I should say the signed card, but the card above it. So that's my grip there. Now, I'm going to move, thanks to my right fingertips, I'm going to move all the cards down while pulling that to the right. So the signed card's going to go down, all the cards above, the second card from the top. So that's the exposed view. And all that happens under the large action. So that's a small action. And here's how it looks in real time. Signed card, and maybe the camera can come down with me as I try it. Signed card here, coming down like that. So you got a nice misdirection because, of course, you're leaving that other card out-jogged. You're here. You're going to come down and leave the one card above it out-jogged. You put it all together, and you get this nice boom and here. And immediately you start spreading, and all those cards are going to be spread above that card. It's a really lovely control. It's essentially switching the sign card for an indifferent card and getting the sign card on the bottom of the deck. Square that up. And now you're in a great position to either have the card, you go boom, and there it is on top. Oh, wait a second, didn't go. So sometimes what happens is, yeah, it went to the bottom. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. Notice that you can go from a convincing control, we talked about this earlier, into the Erdnase Houdini change, where you can do this, come down like this, and slip the card second from the bottom. Second from the bottom. Square it in, turn the deck over, and now you're ready for your Houdini Erdnase color change, or your Erdnase Houdini color change, I should say. Yeah, I know. It's a finicky move, huh? You've tried it? Have you tried the one-hand top palm? You've been working on it? And don't tell me. If you have, every time you press down, it kicks off like this, right? It kicks off like that, right? Well, that means you're on your way. Every guy I've ever spoken to, including myself, had that experience. That, once you're getting there, because it's like, okay, you're here, right? With the pinky, you're going to push down that corner. Oh, and you're probably going to hold way too tight for about 3 months. And you're going to push down the corner. And there's no trick to this. It's just practice. It's elegant. It's sweet. It's a one-hand top palm. I have small hands. Trust me, I have teeny hands. Maybe you can, if you take a card out and you lay it in your hand there, go ahead. Take a card out, lay it on the palm there. Try to get a sense of our two different hand sizes. I mean, I think you're going to find you've got a little bit more room on either side of the card, or it's not so close to the pinky. I've got small hands, all right? And my hands had to adjust to get this move by pushing down. I actually have to kind of flatten my hand first and then pop it up. It's tricky. But once you get this down, see the two-hand card palm, where you're here, and the left thumb is going to push the card over into your hand, and the fingers are going to push it up. That's nice, okay? But you choose your right moment, the hands come together, you two-hand palm, and you're in like that, and the hand comes away. That's all good. But the one-hand top palm means that your other hand, I mean, apart from the Rudy Hunter distant misdirectional palm thing, apart from that, you also can palm off a card with your left hand as misdirection. You can gesture to somebody, you can be picking something up, you can any of these things, and you can one-hand card palm. I also use it in my middling phases with imposters. For that reason alone, I'm so happy that I know how to do the one-hand card palm. So the best thing I can tell you is you'll find this technique well explained, I believe, in the Royal Road to Card Magic, along with other places. Just don't give up. Keep working on it. It will come together. If you're flipping them off to the side, that's a good sign, okay? Stick with it. Promise. Ask real card workers, the best in the world. Top 5 sleights they always want to have is one-hand top palm. This is a sweet one. If you don't know this one, this is one of those ones. This is one of these little details that if you're a real worker, you're going to go, wow, I'm glad I learned that one. Yeah, it's good. My old friend, Rudy Hunter, came up with this, and even when he showed it to me, probably got to be 30 years ago, almost 25 years ago, I immediately knew, that gold, I like that one. It's one-hand top palm combined with a double lift, okay? So we're going to double lift, okay? Going to do a double lift. Slip the card, apparently in the middle, take up the cards, tap them, and say, well, that's about, what is that? We're going to put the card about maybe 20 cards down, drop it on top, and one-hand top palm the card off. There's so many great things about this. First, you've got you know, the key to this, the reason why this is so strong is you've divided your sphere's focus. Typically when you're going to palm off a card, it's within a certain proximity of the deck itself, and people are looking at the deck, or they're not looking at the deck, but it's still a primary focus area. Because of this, you do a double lift, put an indifferent card in the middle, lift off, and the way you're going to actually, the easy way to do it is with your thumb pull down on the edge of the card, which will buckle up the rest here. So you're going to emphasize how far down that card is. You're going to emphasize this. You're going to go, first focus here, about 20 cards. So you're selling the idea it's going to the middle. Then you're going to swing your focus here, and not only going to swing your focus here, but you're going to drop the cards on, pulling all focus there. But just before you do, you're going to one-hand top palm, hand falls to your side. All focus is so dramatically here. I mean, the idea that maybe the card isn't the one sticking out, fine, okay, that maybe, but that the idea that the card isn't even in this sphere of focus now is what makes this so strong, okay? So if you're going to do card to wallet, you load in, card to pocket, card to card case, any of these things, okay? All set up for that whole, I'd say, upper echelon ambitious phase, because the card actually, it's meta deck. It goes beyond the deck itself, all right? Yeah, so you square it in with one finger, and you are so far ahead. The visuals are great. I mean, very convincing. In the middle it goes, apparently squared in, but in fact what you've done is you've got it kicked out the back here. And this is, there is some practice on this for sure, because you're slipping it in. And now when you square it, note I'm straddling the deck. First finger and pinky on both sides. When I square it in, I'm going to tilt it slightly, okay? So it's already getting angled. And then it's okay if they see this, because it looks like you then square it in, but in fact, what you're doing here, let me see, here you go. What you're doing here is, as the thumb and fingers work the side of the deck, you're going to slide it right, and I've got just the tip of my thumb on that card. When I slide it back, it goes right back there. Here's the exposed view. I want you to see this. It goes in. I'm here, and I'm there. Okay? So that's my position. Not bad on angles at all. I mean, it's only when you get way over here that you start to have trouble, okay? But if you're playing to someone on your right, on your left, it's pretty good angles. Now, the key to this move is to not do the strip and immediately palm, okay? If I were you, I think it's better to put it in, square, gesture with both hands. Then you're going to do the strip out. The hand's going to come over. You're going to strip out the card. There's the grip. Thumb. It's there. Okay? That's the grip. You're here, and now there's a few that you can either go south with the card or come over and turn the deck over. And in turning the deck over, you load it on, okay? So here, squared in apparently, but out the back. Take it off and turn the deck over once and twice, all right? Alternatively, table the deck, right? You want you can do this, strip it out, add it back, turn the deck over, put it on the table. Or what's really nice is the spectator's hand. You know, because what you can do there, misdirection-wise, you can say to a spectator, you're going to slip it inside the deck like that. Would you do me a favor? Would you hold your hand for me? Okay, I'm going to put the deck. And that's a nice moment. Boom, would you hold your hand? Get some nice focus there, okay? So one more time. In it goes, square it up, and squaring it up, that's when you push it out the back. Steal it here, okay? Loading it onto the deck as I turn the deck over and put it on the spectator's palm. It's a really elegant way to get the sign card from the middle of the deck to the top of the deck. Okay, go in there, grab a card with a lot of white on it. I'm going to have you sign your name on it. So grab one with some white on it. Which one? Let's see. 10 of hearts. Great. Go ahead. Write your name on there. I don't know if you've ever done that before on a card. I'm going to take the card, and we're going to put about half the cards on top of the card. Now, what's half 50 do? Do you know approximately how many?
26.
Good job. Not everyone gets that. Believe it or not, they don't get it the first time. Up to 26 cards to the very top. I'm going to make one card jump. It's going to be your card. Now, look, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it very slowly. Put it right in the middle. Just again. Boom. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this is getting a little creepy, but you're going to help me out. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, hold it your right hand for me. Lift off about half the cards, about half the deck. Now, notice, nothing fancy. It's not on top yet. I haven't done anything tricky. Watch, 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 watch. Just like this, I'm going to square it in, snap my fingers, and just like that, your card jumps right to the top of your cards. Take a look right up on top. Once again, your card. Over the years, I've certainly done an ambitious card, probably gotten emotionally attached to 15 or 20 different phases, different openers and closers and different things. It's certainly one of the ones, one of the great things about ambitious card, and there are so many things that Daryl Martinez's phrase about like playing jazz. Ambitious card is totally one of those ones because you're doing the same thing, but there's so many different ways to do it again and again. You really can riff. You can find yourself doing 6 phases for these people, and then 12 phases for those people, and then just 2 phases for these people, depending on where your head's at, what you're working on, audience reaction, all that stuff. However, these 3 phases have for a long time been among my favorite of the 3 phases. I find they flow really well together. The top change phase is totally Vernon. It's a Vernon idea, and it's so great because it happens in their hands and it has almost a sponge ball quality to it. I want to share these with you, not just because this is what I use in the real world and they're close to my heart, but also because there's a couple of finer points, particularly about the use of language, of scripting, to give you misdirection for certain moves, okay? Because my 2 favorite ways to misdirect people, 2 favorite ways, is 1, asking them a question, and 2, making them laugh. A laugh point or a question point, great misdirection for a slight, all right? So, again, there's so many ways to start the ambitious card. In this instance, I'm suggesting that the spectator find a card they like with a lot of white on it. So go ahead, grab one. So they find a card they like with a lot of white on it. And it's nice when you spread out the cards face up, and because so often the cliche is go ahead, grab a card. And there's a mystery to this, but there's also the suggestion of control, of secrecy. When you do it face up, there's a real fairness about it all that I think can really relax everybody. Go ahead and write their name. They write their name, and that's a typical. Notice that when they write their name is when typically a lot of performers will do a humorous comment because you've got some time to kill, and because their name, there's lots of gags you can do with that. Now, here is where I love to start with a classic pass. Okay, and we'll teach that, of course, on this project here. And I've got the right hand card spread, and I've already got my 1 card. While they were writing, I spread it out. And I make sure I've got my 1 card sort of ready to go. I've got 1 card slightly separated, okay? And either they put the card back here, or I'll scoop it up myself. Now notice this action, this is not clear. This is exactly the kind of thing that you could do that would raise the question, where is the card? Did something just happen? But I'm going to go from that to this very fair, super fair showing of the card. There it is, and I make sure that registers. I'm going to put about half the cards on top. And as I square the cards up, I'm pushing them in, and I'm going to get a break above, not their card, but the first card. So I'm going to add 1 card onto their card, get a break as I square up, and I say, I'm going to put the cards about. Now, what's half of 52? I had no idea. You could have asked me 30 years ago or 25 years ago. When you ask people half of 52, how many of them are going to get it? Well, first off, you ask a spectator a question, they're already half uncomfortable. You ask them a math question, which we all have this primary fear about, okay? And now they're totally uncomfortable, and half of 52, maybe a third of the time someone gets it right. Maybe a quarter. Most of the time people do not. Half 52, 21. It's 47. It's 25 and a half. Like, you get the craziest things. You really do. And when you ask people a math question, where do they look? They always do this. They go, they're trying to access some, they look up. You could switch in a dead elephant. Nobody, they look up. It's the perfect timing, okay? So, they put the card back. I add 1 card on, hello, there we go. I add 1 card on top of theirs. I ask, what's half 52? It's the perfect time for me to do a classic pass, okay? And typically I wouldn't do it on the table. I take a step back here, even more cover. They say whatever answer they say, and I say, well, make your card. And this is a great way, early on in the ambitious card, it's really important to emphasize what is happening, because later on, typically you'll speed up a little bit, the tempo will change. I'm going to make your card travel up through half the pack. Up through. So I'm clarifying, I'm also showing the way I'm holding the corner of the card, the fact that it's obviously not their card. It shouts, it tells them everything I need them to see. This is not their card, I'm being as fair as possible, up through, I'm telling them the information-wise, going to come up through 26 cards. Boom. I put it, as I put it, I do a little bit of a push off here, just as it comes down, so I'm ready for my double lift. I snap my fingers, and I do my first double. Boom. Let that register. That's incredible magic. Card magic doesn't get a lot more magical than that. A signed card, boom. I push it off, with the base of my thumb, turn it over, slip it in the front edge, square it in, and when I can, because with tilt, you can't show the side of the deck, okay? But so when I'm not using tilt, when I'm putting in fairly, I come over and make sure they can see it on a number of sides. Boom, it comes up to the top again, okay? Now, another question, and this is the Vernon phase. Say, well, you are, and I gesture, are you right-handed or left-handed? Whatever, they say right-handed, and I'm going to do my top change here. I'm going to say right-hand or left-hand, they say right-hand. Say, well, go ahead and lift out your right hand, or hold out your right hand. So I'm here, I'm going to do the top change, which we'll teach somewhere else, but here, do the top change, and both hands move. I'm going to have you lift off about half the deck. I do very broad, okay, because sometimes my top change will be smooth, other times I'll get this whole mess, okay? Performing for people, you never know what you're going to get there. So I always am coming off the top change, both hands, okay? So boom, here's their card. Your right hand or left hand, they say right hand, say go ahead, hold your, I'm going to have you lift off about half the deck. They lift off half the deck. Now, I've just gone from a single deck with one card to 2 packets and a card. It's easy for them to start getting confused or suspicious. Now, of course, there's the card there. But what I do is I say, look, I'm going to slip it right in the middle here. See, I haven't done anything suspicious yet. Now, some magicians would argue that I shouldn't be doing that, that obviously that's the card, and you don't want to underplay the credibility of that. But I say that's crap. In the real world, people, they know something's going on. So I like to get in front of them on this and say, I haven't done anything tricky yet. I haven't done anything tricky yet. And this totally sells that it's still there. To me, what I'm doing is really covering my butt by the fact it's there. The waters, there's no way they're, okay, and I go, boy, here. Now, I haven't done tricky, watch, squeeze, snap my fingers, and it jumps to the top. Now, I don't say the top of this, I say it jumps to the top. I go, watch, I've totally suckered them here. Just like that, it jumps to the top. And now there's this moment of confusion, like, what do you mean it's not there? It jumps to the top of your cards. So I've created this, maintained this illusion, boom, over here, and when people turn that, this is, even before they turn over, that's when you often get this, no way, and then boom, they turn it over, and boom. It's one of the strongest phases. So you get this first phase, second phase. This is a very strong phase. After this, I tend to slow it down a little bit before building it back up towards an ending. Those 3 phases, one after another, are definitely they're definitely among my 3 favorite phases. And again, remember, if you want some misdirection, ask a question, say something funny, or just let one rip. Here's a classic opener. Real simple, real simple. You say to someone, hey, let's try something here. Go ahead, name a card. They say 6 of spades. You go, okay, 6 of spades, 6 of spades. You go, wait a second, rather than me getting the 6 of spades, why don't we try to find it with some magic, okay? Go ahead, wave your hand over there. They do, and of course, the 6 of spades on top. Very simple. Of course, you can just cut the cards. You can cull the cards, depending on how, I guess, how brave or brazen you can be. All I did, they name any card. You go through the cards as if you're looking for the card. Let's say it's going to be the 6 of diamonds this time. I go through, and as soon as I spot the 6 of diamonds, which is right here, I'm going to either break the cards right there and go, wait a second. And the hands mirror each other. I go, wait a second. Why are we actually looking for the card? We should try to find the card with magic. Now, if you notice what I did, is I broke the cards there, put down, and immediately gave the very casual double undercut. Some people would argue, well, why are you doing that? Is that only going to, because you don't want to just keep adding actions on top of actions. But there's part of me, I think, that feels a little guilty about this and think, oh, this might be a little too obvious, the cut. So when I immediately do a double undercut, I feel like I'm almost erasing any sense of controlling the situation, okay, and boom, then it comes up. Something that would handle, certainly withstand more heat is a cull, a straight up cull, okay, and this is more traditionally the way it's done as an opening effect. You go through, let's say it's going to be the 10 of clubs. You go through, there's the 10 of clubs, I pause, and now I'm going to lower my hands down, okay, so, and as I lower my hands down, I'm going to do the cull. So let's look at culling for a second. I go through, there's the 10, okay. I'm going to put my left thumb not on the side of the 10 of clubs, but in this case on the side of the 10 of spades, just on its edge. And as my hands come down, I'm going to pull the 10 of spades a little bit to the left, okay? A little bit to the left. At the same time, my right fingertips are on the back of the 10 of clubs, the named card. And they're going to pull it a little to the right, okay? So as I come down, this very large action, I come down, I go, wait a second, why are we looking for the cards? And I've pulled it far enough to the right so that I can now start feeding all the cards directly on top of the 10 of clubs, all right? Performance speed, let's see, we're looking at the 7 of hearts, okay? I say, let's try something. Go ahead and name any card. And they say 7 of hearts. I go 7 of hearts, 7 of hearts. 7. I say, wait a second. Rather than us looking through the deck, why don't we use magic? Okay, so that's the performance speed. You come down and you pull. Then when you square up, of course, the card immediately goes on the top. This is the exposed view I'm giving you here. Typically, you would never go to that position. Straight on, flat. You want to go from this position down to that position. That's the best cover. One last point is when you're culling, if you want to give yourself a little bit more breathing room so that they don't see you don't want them to see this 2 of spades, vit, and they see this corner up here. If you don't want that, something you can just do is when you spread through the cards, wiggle sort of front and back, jog them a bit. That'll give you, when you get to, say, the 6 of hearts up here, that'll give you, it means that you've got longer than a card, so that when you pull that beneath, there's less chance of flashing any corner underneath, okay? So yeah, now, cutting the cards is legit. Culling is legit, but what's important about this beginning is rather than pick a card, that whole pick a card thing, the fact that they get to name, or name any card is a very open-handed, very magical, reassuring way to start something. Name a card, why don't you, and then you can of course have them wave their hand and look, we got it to the top of the deck, or you snap your fingers and it appears on top, they sign the card, and off you go into your ambitious card routine. Wiggity, wiggity, 2 times, wiggity and wiggity, that'd be 2. Loser! Sorry, there's one more detail I meant to mention. You can double lift, right? Cull the card at the top or cut at the top, whether you use a false cut or not on top of that, whatever. Notice that now you really don't need the false cut, because if you then say, if you've culled it or already controlled the card at the top, square up the pack, and then say, why don't we use some magic here? What do we have on top of the deck? And you do a double lift, okay? And the double lift immediately shows that's not the card they're thinking of. Then you have this perspective to wave their hand, or perhaps drop their pants and sit on the deck for a second, see what happens. They drop off the deck's a little warped now, smells a little different, but there it is, the card on top. That's not bad. That's called flying by the seat of your pants. So out. Paul LePaul's center reverse. Paul LePaul's center reverse. I love it. It's a really cool move. It's one that not a lot of magicians have seen before, created by a guy by the name of Paul LePaul, of all things. Who'd have thunk, huh? Well, there it is. And a lot of different card uses. Let's come on down here. I'll show you the move. It's a pretty funky move. It definitely will take some practice. It's not an easy move, okay? Typically, it is done from a finger break. You've got a break typically below the selected card, let's say 6 of spades, all right? And you're holding the deck like this. This is the way it's supposed to look. And the action happens between your pinky and your 3rd finger, because here's the exposed view. The left fingers push the card out, and they go directly, it's clipped, just the corner is clipped by the pinky, okay? Now notice when I lower the bottom half here, you'll find almost automatically the card pops out. Then the fingers squeeze it down, and you lower the pack on. It is a nigh-on, imperceptible reverse of a card. And what's cool about it is you can have a selected card put back in the deck, okay? Square up the cards. Tilt, you're going to cover it. It's the kind of move that you don't do here, but you actually tilt the hands. That way, most of the action is concealed. And I often do an all-round square up, okay? Just to make sure I take the edge off any flashing. So you could do it with a selected card, but you can also do it with a peeked card, which is really nice, because that way you go through, they call stop, they see a card, you let it close up, bring it down, bring your eyes off here, you look the spectator in the eyes, and while the heat's off here, now you come over and you do the center reverse, you do your square up, like that, boom, and you're in. Now with the ambitious card, I've always used the Paul center reverse in a couple of ways. First way is like this. Let's say we're dealing with a selected card, let's say the 8 of hearts. 8 of hearts put back in the middle of the deck, I square up the cards, and I'm acting as, and I do the center reverse, and I act as if, once again, I'm going to try to make it come to the top. Snap my fingers, go, ba-da, there it is. That's weird, wait a second. That is the strange, I don't know why the card, oh, wait a second. As if, and the idea is, of course, the card is, at this point in the middle of the ambitious routine, the card is up to a lot of different things, and this is just one, it sort of suddenly reverses itself. The other way I use it is as an opener. Now, and this is the way I do it. I actually use a peeked card, a reveal of a peeked card, okay? But I'll do it in a way that's so casual, okay? I totally blow off the revelation, all right? And it's nice if you can do it if you have the marker, okay, say in your right pants pocket. Because now, imagine you're starting your ambitious card this way. Say, let's do something. I'm going to have you not pick a card or touch a card or take it out, nothing that physical. I'm going to have you say the word stop or any word you want. As I go through the card, you say any word. I go through, they say stop, they peek a card, okay? Boom, they've got a card. I let the pack close up, I say, okay. I want you to think about your card, I want you to concentrate. And again, while my eyes are looking in their eyes, as if I'm trying to figure out what the card is, I sort of square up the cards with my hands, and I'm going to do the center reverse now. Come over, square up the cards. I do the center reverse, and then, well, I sort of change my mind. I say, well, actually, maybe we'll have you sign your card. And so by the time, and I'm handing them, boom. By the time their eyes are back down here, not only have I found their card, the card they were merely thinking of, but it's appeared on top of the deck, and I'm handing them the marker to sign their name on it. So it's definitely a casual way to, like I said, it's one of those things that halfway through they'll be signing their name, and and then you see them kind of go, wait a second, how did you? So there's that boom, okay? And again, and now this time we'll stick just up on my eyes here, so they're here, they see a card, remember, and I'll go, okay, think about your card. Okay, I'm going to try to get a sense of the color of the card. Let's say it's actually, maybe you can sign your card. And by the time they come back down, boom, it is just there. So those are two of the ways. I've used it in a few different ways, but those are two of the ways I've used Paul center reverse over the years in the ambitious card. And it's a very cool move. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. I think without a doubt, it is definitely, when it comes to having a reversed card appear in the deck or on top of the deck, it has to be one of the most economical techniques ever created. Said it before, I'll say it again. I love a sequence that leaves you set up to do it again, right? Ideally, like a double lift situation is lovely. The twirl change, or actually as I call it the twirl change, Marlowe's classic move, in lieu of Vernon's push through the fist move. That's the real title. It's Marlowe's move. This is Marlowe's move, the twirl change. Now the twirl change is this, or the in lieu, that crazy long thing, is you take a face-up card, and you pick up that card and the card below it. And then as you shake the large action, the finger's going to reach over, pull this over. Okay, you're going to twirl it over is what I call it, twirl. And not the middle finger, but the third finger, I guess, or third finger, is going to push down on the edge and twirl over. You combine it all together, you get this nice visual change of the jack changing to the 5. The 5 changing to the jack, okay, the large action. Now, with ambitious, it's really sweet. I'm going to raise myself up over here, Beer, so you can see it better. With ambitious, it's really sweet, because if you get the selected card third from the top, all right? Selected card, third from the top. You go snap. There it is, right? Whoops, that's not the card. You go, look, let's see here. There we go. There's the card like that. Now look, I'll take it, slip it in the middle, and just like that, it comes to the top. So the twirl change, as I call it, sets you up for your double lift. So the card is third from the top, okay? Snap your fingers and go, oh, apparently you missed it, right? Now you're going to pick the block of 3 cards up, shake them. There's the signature. Do a double lift. Take the card, slip it back in, and again, it comes to the top. The paintbrush change. You gotta love it. It's definitely one of those classic visual sleights or techniques that when you're a younger magician in card magic, you're totally charmed by it. You go, wow, this is like a TV screen going off and on. And then when you're an intermediate magician, you kind of go, well, it's sort of an amateur thing, I'm gonna leave that. And then when you become a more experienced magician, more seasoned, I think, having performed for real people in the world for a lot longer, you kind of go back to it and go, wow, it is great. It's great for lots of reasons. Let's take a look at it here. Okay, for starters, what's nice about the paintbrush change is to get, it's a great middle face because it's so visual. In fact, I would argue that it's one you should use in the middle or even closer to the end, maybe not a closer, but near the end of your ambitious card routine because it is so visual. There's so many hidden virtues in it. Virtue one is the card doesn't have to be, you don't want the card, in fact, second from the top. You want the card on top. Now, it has to be on top secretly. You can't just start by sort of showing it there and then immediately going into a double lift as if everything's cool. Obviously, that would be revealing. So you need to have the selected card secretly up on top again. And any, whether it's controlling it to the top or whether it's apparently having put it in the middle but really kept it on top, whatever the case is. So it needs to be on top. Now, you start by doing double lift. I traditionally do strike doubles, okay? But there's lots of different, of course, and I'll teach the double lift somewhere else here, but let's assume I'm doing a strike double. So you do a strike double to show it's not on top. You come over and you pick up the pair like that. Now, I've seen some guys, they pick it up like this on the edge. Other guys will pick it up like this. In the real world, for real people who are going to be close up, really close up, there's a lot to be said for that. Okay, first I think it's a pretty natural position because you're about to use this finger to turn over that card, so I think it can flow nicely. The advantage of this too is there's no way, unlike this grip or this grip, when you pick up a card, a pair like that, okay, sort of a gentle grip, it's the biddle grip, the front and side edge of the cards, there's no way they can see a double edge, okay? And in fact, you can cheat your body a little bit, and you can be standing like this. If the audience is where the camera's at, I can turn my body a little bit, and now there's no chance someone's going to catch it over there either, okay? So it's a very practical grip. Take your first finger, boom, just like that, you turn over. Now, this is a double, this is a single. You put this on top, and again, don't put your hands here because they could see the edge. Tilt those hands down. Nice dramatic. You push the pair down, pause a beat, and then slide back just the top one. Wow. That card below there impossibly just changed. Really pretty. Boom. Now, a couple of subtle points here. Other great virtues about this. I'm going to take this card, slip it legitimately into the front. When you do an ambitious card, every time you legitimately slip any card into the middle and square it in, every time you do that, you are adding a great deal of value to every time that you do it, and it's only been a deceptive, whether it's a tilt move, whether it's whatever you're doing, the fact that they get to see again and again and again this all-important image of a card being legitimately put in the middle of the deck can only make every other phase that much stronger. So that's virtue one. Virtue two is you're left in a double lift position, right? So this is squared in. Exact same move, strike double. I'm turning over my double, and I'm going to put this card in the middle. I mean, totally. So the fact that just a second ago you put a card in the middle, it perfectly sells the idea of the card going in the middle again. Snap your fingers, boom. Okay? So let's walk through it again. I want you to get the tempo on it. The tempo is really important on this kind of thing. You're here. Let's say I'm doing a strike double. I'm showing clearly it's not on top. It's not second from the top. I pause just a beat so they know the magic's about to happen, and then boom, boom. Okay? Now, you're going to have to decide. It's going to be totally up to you whether you're going to go down and do that. That's totally legitimate. Whether you're going to do it kind of quickly, like this, boom, boom. Okay? Some people do that as if it's I don't think it's a great, I prefer to do it very steady. The idea is to create tension without giving the tension any relief, any spike point. You leave that with them. So you're here. Boom. I like that. That's the tempo that works for me. In the middle it goes. And here. Now these little pauses I'm making will totally add so much to your ambition. It's your ambitious card. It's a personal style, but this is one of the most important parts, is what happens between the moves. Between the moves creates the tension. Between the moves create the pacing, okay? Here's two different ways you can do this. Watch. I would say that's dead. There's no pacing, there's no ebb and flow, there's nothing, okay? I would be more apt to perform it like this. These little pauses, It's like saying, you can see it's the 2, here it's going to come, here it came, but boom, 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 boom. Those little pauses can make or break, I think, your ambitious card. However, whatever pacing you do it, though, do seriously consider doing the paintbrush change. It's so visual, and like I said, it's one of those ones that sets you automatically up for a double lift situation. So in a sense, it's not just one change, but it's got 2 built-in changes. I know. What would a Sankey DVD be without the Erdnase Houdini color change? I know. But let me just say, it is a great addition to any, again, it's reminds me of the paintbrush change, in the sense that it's a great addition to any ambitious card routine for a couple of reasons. One, super visual, just shouts magic, okay? And 2, once again, it sets you up for the all-important double lift. Okay, you get set up for that. So let's take a look just for a second at the Houdini color, the Houdini alla Ange. So let's just do it with the bottom of the pack here. There's a lot of different. I'll show you a few different ways a few different places you can try this out in your ambitious card routine. So I've got small hands. Keep that in mind. You rub. And apparently the card, whoa, sorry about that. You rub, I got fooled there, and the card changes. Now, the technique on it, here we go. Feel free to fast forward if you already got it down, is I'm going to come over, cover my hand. I'm going to cover the card. And when I come down onto the card, I'm sort of moving forward a little bit, and I'm actually going to push the top card forward. In real performance, what is that? That's about 3/4 of an inch. Now, when you're practicing this, though, give yourself a break. Push it out for an inch, okay? When you're just practicing, so you get it. Then the heel of the hand, okay? Contacts the 2, and with my fingers closed, I'm going to slide back until and I'm going to push down on the end of it so that I'm going to feel when it clears, okay? Then I'm going to move forward, and as I move forward, as I get near the end of the push, the left first finger squares it all up, okay? So that's the action. Here it is with the fingers spread, so you get a sense of it. Here it is when the fingers close. So it's one of these moves. Now, when you're practicing it, stay very linear, okay? Stay very forward and back, okay? So you can get a hang of it. And then once you get it down, what you want to do is introduce a little bit more of a circular action. I think, you show that you rub, show the hand, rub again, circular action. I think the circular action adds a lot and really undercuts anybody's, even on an unconscious level, theory about you changing cards. So that's the Erdnase color change, okay? A really beautiful move. Lots of stuff you can do with that, from color changes, the deck change from red to blue, all these other different things. Regarding the ambitious card, you got the selected card on top of the deck, okay? You're going to do, let's say, you're going to do whatever. I'll do a strike double. You're here, you do a strike double, showing it's not on top. Do the Erdnase color change, boom, changes. You're immediately set up for your double lift. Put it in, do that. Either snap your fingers, or you can echo the same action again, like that, and again it comes up on top. So sweet, the fact, again, I mean, I go on and on about this, I know, but I love the fact that any magic moment that can get you set up for another magic moment, I mean, boom, it changes, comes up, turn over, double lift, slip it in, and then it comes up again, or you ask a spectator to turn over. Just, this is one of these things, too, which is fun, because what you can do is it's on top, okay? Do your double lift. Wave your hand, have it change, bam, okay? Say, oh, actually, you can do it too. Turn the card over, I slip it in, I ask the spectator to wave their hand. Now, they're going to wave their hand, and when they wave it, they're sort of post-selling themselves on the idea that that's all I did was wave my hand. Of course, I had my hand on the cards, and I did this, but they wave in a similar action, and it really sells the idea that all you did was wave, okay? Now, notice you can do this face up too. Let's say you're going to do a tilt. And again, so you're going to do tilt, you're going to take it and slip it apparently in the middle of the deck, doing your out jog, okay? There it goes in the middle of the deck, square it in. And now when you do the Erdnase color change, it's a face-up boom, okay? And in that situation, I would always make a point of not just doing the Erdnase color change and letting it register, but pushing it off a little bit with the thumb to really sell, to clarify that it came to the top of the deck, okay? So again, you show that, and of course you're getting ready for your tilt. You're doing that. You're putting it in the middle of the deck. You're here. Boom. do that. Boom. One other thing is, of course, alternatively, you can have the card, you can have it put in the middle of the deck, okay? And either cull or double cut it to the second from the bottom, okay? So now the card is second from the bottom. I just used a simple cull there. So you can turn the deck over. You put it apparently in the middle of the deck, turn the deck over and say, watch, I can have the card come up not just when the cards are face down, but even when the cards are face up, the card will come up, okay? Boom. Now in that instance, you wouldn't do this, because that just sort of, yes, you could say, well, it came up through all the cards, including the 5 of clubs. But I wouldn't do that. In that case, I think, and again, you could do it this way. You can do the tilt face up, pushing it in, wave your hand, and the card comes to the top again. And that's why it's called the splat production. I call it the splat production because the card just sort of splats on the spectator's hand. You can do it on your hand or the spectator's hand. Spectator's hand's definitely going to be more effective. Wouldn't open it, wouldn't close with it. But in the middle, it's got a whole different feel. And again, when you do magic, if it's something that happens, almost anything that happens in their hand is going to be good magic. All right, so it's sort of fun, and I think this is the splat production is a rare instance where a card actually appears on their hand. I mean, there's probably only a handful, excuse the pun, a handful of those in all of card magic, so I would have felt remiss not to share this with you. It uses Marlowe's convincing control, which we've covered elsewhere, so that you can show the selected card. And then as you come down, of course, apparently it's left sticking out, but as we know, again, with having taught the convincing control, it actually ends up on the bottom of the deck. I immediately, once I have it, I swing down and I balance the deck up here because this is the grip you need. Because what you're going to be doing is this. You're going to square in the card, and then I'll do it with my own hand here, but you could actually, is you're going to balance the deck. The thumb shouldn't be on the middle. It should be just up off center. And you're going to hit the deck so that it's that action, okay? Like that. The thumb sort of lifts it up and over, right? So doing it with the spectators, indifferent cards left out jogged. You're here, immediately move, because it's kind of a strange looking grip. Immediately move the position, so it's leaning almost like spellbound, I guess, like that. Say, hold at your hand. Once they have the hand out, only now do you square it in. Looks very fair, really, boom. Take their hand, thumb on top, fingers below, and you're going to basically use their hand like you would your own hand, where you go 1, 2, and on 3, you go boom like this. The card is going to come up, land right like that in their hand. Now, the thing about this is if you do it for people, though, don't just... the second after, don't take your hands away because people, the card might still fall off. People are sort of shocked. They're not sure what happened. So it's really nice if you make a point of holding it on their palm. Boom, boom, hold your hand. You make a point of, boom, holding it on their hand. So, and then showing everybody that the card is apparently just hopped up to the top. If you're going to do it with your own hand, it's obviously, it's got some virtue there. You're here, and now actually what you can do is do it palm down. And palm down, it ends up. Now, where I used to use it is I'd say, you know, watch, let's try it again. Ambitious phase in the middle, like I said. Let's try it again. I do Marlowe's convincing control. I'll say, once again, I'm going to do it very slow. You can see I've left it in the middle. I'll squeeze it up, but watch this. And I sort of lean towards them, almost whispering, say, but watch. Even if I try to too quickly move my hand onto the deck, watch what happens. Your card actually, boom, pops right up through my hand, ends up, and then you have this nice almost post-selling gesture where you're here, you come over to the table, and you do this final kind of to really sell the fact that apparently even though the deck was covered with both hands, it still somehow melted through the top of the deck. Look, we're going to take the sign card. Let's get rid of it. Let's do something else. Let's have another card touched here. Go ahead, touch any one. Doesn't matter. Which one would you like? You're sure?
Yeah.
That one right there. In this case, the sign card. Okay, look. Let's take that. Get rid of that. Cut it somewhere in the pack. Go ahead, touch any one again. Doesn't matter. That one. You're sure?
No.
Okay, touch another one. Doesn't matter.
Okay, this one.
This one right there. Okay, so in this case, we are dealing with the sign card again. Look. We'll do this. We'll get rid of the sign card. Is that it there? No, good. Well, name a number between, say, 12 and 20.
18.
18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Right there, we've got the sign card again. I've used this both as an opening kind of, I guess you wouldn't call it an opening ambitious phase, but sort of as a warm-up that they keep finding it as if it's one step down from it keeps coming to the top. I've also used it many a time in the middle. These are 3 phases, 3 quick finds. None of them use a classic force. I've gone through phases where my classic force is pretty strong and other times where it sucks, where I couldn't classic force against, I don't know, a blind horse with double-sided tape on his hoof that kept touching the deck. I just couldn't get there. So neither of these, so none of these use, it's topper, a double lift, and then a countdown, sort of any card or a card at any number handling I came up with several years ago using a biddle steel. So any one of these can be a nice, you throw it in, and again, one of the downsides of ambitious cards sometimes is it's too much of a watch me trick, okay? Too often, performer, every phase is watch me, watch, and after a while, it can get dull, it can look kind of arrogant, a bit of a show-off thing. It's great if you can sometimes have some phases that really involve spectators. That's what I love about Vernon's with the top change. I also teach on this project. Yeah, so it's nice. In this one, they're very intimately involved, which I like a lot, okay? The 3 phases. Let's see. We've got our sign card here. And here we are, okay? So what's nice about this, too, is you end, it starts with, you don't have to be in a double lift position or anything, just the one card, okay? Drop it on top using the double, I use this false cut, the double cut. Apparently cutting it into the middle of the deck, and the whole idea is let's try something else. I want you to touch another card. So it's let's try something else. We're going to take a break from this as if we're going to try to get away, and we're not able to get away from it, okay? So a double cut, it's still on top. I spread through, they touch any card. I'm going to do topper. Frank Garcia's move, topper. Where it's squared up, and any card they touch is the sign card. It is such a deceptive force. They can touch any card, it's the sign card. This is the way it would look if you were really going to handle the deck, I think, just like a layperson might to pull out a card. It's very simple. You spread out the cards, out-jog the card. As the fingers tap this in, what I'm going to wrist kill, and this sound adds a lot to the illusion. They touch a card, you out-jog it. Okay? Now, sometimes people ask me, well, what happens? Do they happen simultaneously, the square in and the pull-out? No, I don't think that's physically possible, actually. What happens is I come over and I'm tapping it in, so it goes in, and then the thumb drags off. So that's the first phase. Uses topper, doom, boom, boom. Found your card again. Well, look, let's get rid of it. Let's try it again. I want you to touch another one this time. And again, a false cut. Keep it on top. I spread out. They touch any card, and I'm going to use the spin double lift, which we've already taught here, where you come over, and I'm going to, as I come over, I'm going to push this out, spin it out, put it on top, do the double lift. Boom, we get it again. Boom, it's 2. So 1, 2. The third one is I turn over the double, keeping a little break. Turning over the double, keeping a little break with the flesh of the thumb. I'm going to double undercut this time the card to the bottom of the deck. So the sign card ends up on bottom. Get a little break at the back above the card, and now they can name any number between 8 and, let's say, you don't want like 3 or 4, but pretty much anything above 8 or 10 or 12 is going to work. So as you count, let's say they say 14. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. When I count the 14th one, I'm coming over. I'm going to drop the selection, count off the 14th card, drop those or hand those to somebody, come over, immediately do a strike double, and act as if I'm exasperated that the sign card is once again on top. And here's the nice thing again, of course, you're now ready, double lift, you're ready to once again do a beautiful, ambitious phase. Here's a definite middler. Not an opener, not a closer, nice middler. And once you get this down, you can really have the whole point on this is that you're going to have the card rise to the top twice in quick succession, and you want them to look as similar as possible, okay? As similar as possible. Let's take a look. Let's assume, the way I would typically do this is Marlowe's tilt. There's lots of ways to get into it, but if I'm going to use Marlowe's tilt, I apparently put it in, as we know, and I keep a break at the back of the deck below the top 2 cards. Now I'm going to grip them at the front with the fingers and dribble the cards down. And when I get to the double, I'm just going to turn my hand up and give a flash. Okay? Then I'm going to immediately go back down, lay it on, but you don't want to put it off. You want this to be as smooth as possible. You're here and immediately pulling off, slipping back in. It's still, now it's really on top. Get a break under the top card, riffle, and show. What's nice about using it with Marlowe at this point is you've been able to very nicely echo the first sequence because you're here, or using tilt I should say. You use tilt, which automatically gives you the break you want anyway. Dribble, show the double, drop it on, pull back, and you can mimic tilt, but now what you can do is show them the side of the deck, which is a nice. It goes in, break under the top card, break under the top card, to that point, you're done. So it's one right after the other, and again, the goal on this is for the two of them to look as similar as possible, so you get a nice flow from one to the other. It's got a nice open, loose feel to it, which I really like. The other thing is if you're palming off a face-down card from the pack, you're set up for a false pull-off a moment later, which I'll show you right now. So here we are. Let's say you've got yourself in a situation where the sign card is face up, second from the top. Okay, now typically where you do that is with a face-up tilt, okay? Where you'd be here, you'd say, let's try it again this time, but this time I'm going to put it in the deck face up using tilt, of course, Marlowe's tilt. You push it in, okay? Hold the deck, gently toss it once, and when you toss it, rather than holding the hand here, drop the deck and let the hand fall through. Okay, so that's why you want to be not too close to a table. You're like that. Do it once or twice. I would suggest once. Come up, you're going to one hand top palm the top face down card and then drop the deck. And that's why you want to establish this fall. And then you notice that you could drop twice and one hand top palm and do that, which is fine, but I mean that means there's a little bit more heat in this hand because it's still in the sphere of focus. Whereas if you go once and you let the hand fall, you do it again twice, boom. All focus is there. Okay, so and now the same thing can be done, of course, with the selection second from the top of the face-up deck. Okay, now it's more of a traditional color change where you're there, one hand top palm and boom. Okay, really magical, got a real hands-off kind of feel. However, that leaves you with a card face up in your hand, which doesn't allow you to do the false takeoff that I was talking about earlier. Here's the false pull-off. You've shown the card, you're doing Marlowe, we're going to do the tilt, put it in the deck, square up the cards, do the palm off face, boom. Now you can come over, okay? And just with the fingertips of your right hand, you turn the card over and apparently take it off and slip it back in the middle, and you make it come to the top again, okay? So it sets you up, and I mentioned this again and again on this project. It's so nice if you do a color change or an ambitious phase or whatever that leaves you set to do another one right after that. That situation allows you to really get a momentum going with an audience. You can really start to improvise, do a real jazz approach to it, as I've mentioned. So again, face-up card, going second from the top thanks to tilt, okay? Drop the deck, right hand falls to side, one hand top palm, boom. Come over, fingertips turn over, okay, and you immediately make it look like you pull the card off. And of course, all I'm doing is loading this card directly on and pulling, as soon as I got it on square, come back like that. So it's only on the deck for a second, but the illusion of you apparently pulling off the card and slipping it in the front, and then boom, one more time, comes to the top. Watch, we're going to take your sign card. I'm going to do this very slowly. I'm going to take it, slip it inside my pocket. Okay? We'll get back to that in a second. Now, every deck of cards has a few cards that are very good at doing impressions. All right? We're going to see which the first card we're going to go with is going to be the Nine of Hearts. He does very good impressions. Watch. Just rub the Nine of Hearts and look. That's a great impression. I mean, that 9 looks exactly like your sign, too. The 9 did a good job. Let's see what the next card's going to be, the 7 of Diamonds. Watch, just rub, and you'll see the 7 of Diamonds also does a really good impression. The 9 did a good impression. The 7 does a good impression. Let's see what else. Oh, 4 of Spades. 4 of Spades, very good. I bet you the 4 of Spades gets the color, gets this. I mean, all 3 cards did a really good job. Now, of course, if I want, I can just snap my fingers and all 3 cards, and that's because your sign card, of course, is still inside my pocket. This is definitely one of my favorite middling phases because there's lots of magic. Boom, 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 color change, color change, color change, and then you're set to go right on into your ambitious card from there. You can do a few phases of ambitious card, go into imposters, boom, and go on from there. You can end your ambitious card with this if you want. It's all up to you, all right? And of course, based on the stuff you've already learned, you know it's a few double lifts and the Erdnase color change. That's it. To get into it, you need to be in a second or a double lift position. You've done your double lift to show the card. Turn it back over and slowly take the card. Don't rush this part because this is important that they get a visual log of what happens. You can either put this down on the table or you can do it one-handed depending on the length of your shirt here. I like to do this though and really emphasize. And this is just an indifferent card going in the pocket. All right? Take your time. Make sure that registers. Come over, spread out the cards face up. I like this. I think this looks very fair, spreading them out face up. Of course, you don't want to flash the card on bottom. Spread them out, say in every pack. There's a few that do impressions. Let's see if we can find. Now you're going to do your double lifts. Now there are a few double lifts back to back, so you definitely want to have a confident double lift. Do a double lift. Talk about doing impressions. You're going to do the Erdnase Houdini color change. Wham. Real magic. Comment, I like to make comments that it's a pretty good impression. Maybe not perfect. Maybe the signature isn't perfect and you know maybe the color's a little off on the red. These kinds of comments as if it's maybe not quite perfect, okay? Turn the double over. Drop the card, the indifferent card on the table. Come back over, do another double lift. What's nice about this structure is every time you're doing a double lift, you're not only showing the other new card, but you're showing that, of course, the sign card isn't still there. So rather than cutting between them, I think there's a lot to be said for just going double lift, double lift. So you can do another Erdnase Houdini color change, okay? Another double lift turnover, dropping another indifferent card, and then you go right into another double lift, okay? So it really sells that each card that's going down is somehow the signed card. A third and final Erdnase color change, boom. Turn over the double. Transfer the deck from one hand to the other, and the moment you snap your fingers is when you do one hand top palm, okay? Which we've taught somewhere else in this project. So you're here, you're there. This hand is out of focus, okay? So there's no heat on this, it's out of focus. You turn, you turn, you turn, and on the third turn, you immediately transfer the deck to the other hand. Put your hand down inside the pocket. Take this out, make sure they get an image of it coming back out, pause a beat, and show the signed card. Like I said, it's definitely one of my favorite middling phases. The structure, so it really works very nicely, boom to boom. The one-hand top palm misdirection works really well. And then, like I said, you can go right into it. You can either end your ambitious card with that, a lot of magic going on, or go right into another phase. Vernon's Bend. That's what I've always called it. I know it's been credited actually to Fred Capps and to Di Vernon and a few people. I even heard somebody, pretty knowledgeable person, credit to Jennings once, but I'm pretty sure that's not correct. Vernon's Bend. This is a phase that everybody does. Do it. Do it, man. If you don't do it, you're nuts, okay? Double lift situation. Card second from the top. Apparently the card vanished. There it is. On bottom. Fooled me. Second from the top, you lift up the double. This is a great second to last phase or third to last phase. Lift up. This is two cards held as one. Don't touch the ends of the cards together once or twice. Boom, boom, boom. Put them on top. Lift off about half, and with your left thumb, drag off only the top card. Your right first finger is keeping the bend out of that one there. There it is there. And with your pinky, make sure they see the bend. They can see that bend, okay? Put it on top, square everything up, and hold the edges firmly. Slight concave. Snap your fingers. The moment you snap your fingers, let loose. And there's this beautiful sense of it jumping right to the top. It's so powerful. Ask anybody who uses this phase. This is definitely one of those that lay people often respond really, really well to. Daryl's ultimate ambition. Ambitious? Ultimate ambitious? Ultimate ambition. I don't know which one it is, but I know it's Daryl's, where anyway the selected card is put in the middle of the deck. It's clearly gone in the middle of the deck. Spectator can examine the top card, see the card is not on top, and a second later it is, with no funny handling. Great idea. His uses a really funked up deck of cards, a really tricky deck of cards, really smart, really cool. Totally totally, I haven't used it, but I've seen it. I know it's a really cool idea. Here is a handling that doesn't use a gimmick deck, and it's very old. This is from When Creators Collide, back in the day with Richie Sanders. Look at this, real cool, real simple, where the selected card, signed card, is put in the deck. And all you do is a half pass, okay? Meaning, put the card in, square up the cards, and you immediately half pass the bottom half, okay? Now, the cool thing about a half pass, or so the cards are boxed now, is clearly the card went in the middle, okay? Clearly the card went in the middle. I'm going to do this as I square them up, and I'm going to put a rubber band around the whole deck. Now, very fair. You can even extend the deck to a spectator and say, take a look. And they can see under there, there's nothing. Now, you've got two options here. One that I do is not going to look great for the camera because it's very much a real-world misdirection thing. But you're here, and I go, fine. I bring the hands back, and I say, well, we're going to try it one last time. And just like that, all I'm doing is it's on the fingers, both hands gesture. I come over, and I just roll the deck. Okay? Here, and I roll the deck. So you get that perfect situation where the spectator just examined the top card. Okay? And maybe I'll say, now we're going to try it one last time. Do you believe in magic? I'm not sure. And it's boom and boom. Then I snap, and a second ago they checked this. Now they check, and there it is. The card's right there. Okay, the signed card. Really magical. Another way to do it is with my flip toss move, right? Where they can examine it. You're here, and you go, look. I'm just going to toss the deck, and just like that, your card comes on top. And the flip toss move is, again, a little angly, because as you throw the cards down, you're going to let them fall off. The key to this is to throw firmly and lift up the hand. That gives you the fastest turnover, and you want the spectator to be looking like this. Okay? So there's the least chance of them noticing any, you know. Another place to do this, of course, is just in a spectator's hand. Really simple, really elegant. Where you're here, you put the rubber band on, have a spectator look at the top card, look them in the eye, and just roll the deck. Look them in the eye and say, actually, hold out your hand. They do. Put your other hand on top. They do. Snap your fingers, wave your hands, whatever, and boom. Another detail in this I want to mention is I'll often, in the second to last phase I'll get a lot of hands involved, and that's very cool, okay? When it's on the table, they put their hands, you put your hands, somebody else puts their hands, you get 6, 7, 8, 9 hands, 10 hands, a huge pile of hands. It may sound a bit kooky and strange, but as long as everyone's been drinking heavily and they all belong to the same devil cult, it's a great way to add a lot of drama to the ambitious card effect. Speaking of the flip toss move, here's another really dramatic, visually funky, ambitious card rise. This is called Face Up Finale, and it, like a few of these on this, is from back in the day with When Creators Collide with Richie Sanders and I. For this, you need one card reversed on the bottom. Okay, the easiest way to do that is on the offbeat, just half pass that sucker. Okay, selected card goes inside. Show it very fairly. They can see it. You're going to cull it, okay? As you square up the card, just cull it to the bottom of the deck. It goes to the bottom, okay? Now, you're going to back jog the card just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Back jog it, let's say half an inch, whatever. Take the rubber band, band it, and you're going to do the flip toss move now, okay? Have I done a little too far back? A little. I've done a little too far back there, like that. So you're here, okay? Now, when you do the flip toss move now, when it hits the hand, you get this immediate visual, and you got to watch your angles, of course, here. I probably didn't give the best angle there, but you get this immediate visual from this, okay, from that to a card appearing face up and still a little bit of back showing. So it's now you could do this once, but you're going to start flashing that edge, okay? You know, so you could do that and cheat and make sure they can't see once, twice, and then on 3 you sort of shift your body position, boom, and get that, you know, a flowing bang. Yeah, so that's just and then a nice boom, give that away as a souvenir, put the deck, go south of the deck, you're done. Here's another idea with the flip toss move that's very cool. It's combining the Mercury card fold with the flip toss move for a definite closer. where the card not only jumps to the top of the deck, but it gets to the top and folds itself up into a packet at the same time, okay, getting closer and closer to paper clipped. For that, same as before, face-up card on the bottom, all right? Selected card put in the middle, okay, shown. Slip in the middle, you can cull it to the bottom, okay? Cull to the bottom. You're going to do a half pass of the card there, okay? You're going to do a half pass, turn it over, and now you're going to do the Mercury card fold, okay? This is not the Mercury card fold is explained in enormous detail on my paperclip project, but here it is for now. You pull back the card, giving it a nice bend. Fold in quarters, go back up, all right? So it's a two-part move, 1 and 2. Score the card firmly underneath, get the rubber band, okay? And now you're putting the rubber band around the folded card so you get this really sweet image. And notice that you can have the card reappear folded up on top of the deck, either face in or face out. Now, if you want it face out, that means you don't have to turn over on the bottom of the deck. You can go right into the Mercury card fold. The visual on that, so instead of being face out, the card will be folded in this way, okay? Face out. Let's do another loop to make sure we're nice and tight on this. Come on, little looper. That's right. Practice for years to get your double lift down and then get defeated by a rubber band. There we go. There we go. There. So now you get this image. What's fun about this is after the card, in this case the card appears, they're not sure if it's their signed card. So you can ask them to reach over, take the card off, and only now do they see their signature. A little bit of drama inside the drama. What I love about this closer is that you actually get to write a full description of the effect on the back of the card. Okay? The actual, see, look. Cards come to the top many times. Okay, Roger, 6 of diamonds, come to the top many times. You say, look, I'm going to take the card, Roger, I'm going to slip it in the middle of the pack one last time. And on the top card of the deck, I'm going to actually write the word top, let me do this backwards, C-A-R-D. There we go. I know, it looks a little like red rum from the Shining there. Watch this. One last time your card's going to melt. It's going to come right up to above the top card. Square it in. Just like that. Comes right, wait. Oh, wait a second. It is the top card. Really simple, kind of cute meets miracle status combination. There's lots of different ways, little handlings. Add topper as a convincer, and you can even take it to the next level. What I mean by that is this. Roger's got his name on there, okay? You got the second from the top, of course. You do a double lift, slip it in the middle, okay? Take the top card, which in this case is the actual card, turn it, okay? Now let's say you don't want to write like a crazy person. You can write top card that away, okay? Blow on it, turn it around so they can see it, all right? Now one little subtlety is, of course, lift up the top 2 cards. Perfect justification for flashing the face of a different card because you're blowing the back. Put it here, okay? You can give them one more glimpse at this by doing a variation on topper, which is here, and you're going to push it in and only push this out, okay? So the sense is that their card, the 5 of hearts, was shown, and I'm going to square it in, turn it over, and just give them a little flick before apparently squaring it all the way in, okay? Nice little subtlety here, here, in it goes. So it's going to come to the right, oh, that's weird, it should appear right up on, unless it is, and you get this wonderful kind of boom, bringing together with a complete description of the effect. This is a really nice move. I came up with this independently when I was about 15 or so, but since then I've heard it's been credited to Fred Capps, Plato, Martin Luther King did a little card magic apparently in the early days. So this has been credited to a number of people. Here's the basic idea. And again, this was originally When Creators Collide, is from the, that you can take a face-up palm card, say, and from the palm position, you can make it with a shake. You're going to kick this card sort of with the fingers here, kick it over. Now, it sort of, it goes from this position to this position. It doesn't really move all the way over. It's just the most of the card sort of comes out to here, okay? You get the timing on it, and it's a really sweet illusion. You can do it face up. The card comes to the top of the deck, face up. And this action is the one that's really covering it, okay? And don't worry if you get it, if it only comes out or it's a little sloppy, because, again, it's the kind of thing magicians would worry about, but boom, okay? Now, what you can do is apply the convincing control at the same time, and what you get, you can have a card, okay? Go in, what am I doing here? You can have a signed card, or card go into the pack, okay? You're there. You can take the card case, right? Apparently slip the cards in the case, which is a great image. Square the card in. And here you palm off the card from below the case, and now you get this funky, funky image where you can show both sides of the case and then go, and just like that, and possibly it looks like the signed cards come to the top. Really fresh. And all I'm doing there is, there's the card. I'm doing the convincing control, controlling it to the bottom of the deck. I'm going to buckle the bottom card a little bit, okay? Buckle a little bit, get a break. And then when I load the cards into the case, I'm actually going to slip the other card below. I'm going to feed this in between the deck and the one card on bottom, okay? Feed it in. It's now all riding below, right? Rides below. I'm going to push the card back a little bit, just a little bit, okay? It's back so you don't flash the front edge. It goes in, really sweet image. Now I'm going to kind of square it all up as I come up, making sure I don't flash the bottom card. Sort of a two-hand palm action, pushing the card off into my hand as I flip it over once, twice. And if you keep it face down, you get the drum. So this looks very copacetic, right? You do the shakedown, boom, it pops up. They don't know which card it is, and you can extend it to a spectator, and they can turn that over and find that card. Really strong closer. Nice boom. And you end with all the cards in the card case. So you go south with the, and you are done. This is definitely one of those ideas that I think has been created or original with about 10,000 magicians. 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, the Bendix Bombshell was a card to wallet. It was really smart. And also Mullica has a great card to wallet. Mendoza has a great routine. And I was playing around with all that stuff at that point. And of course I thought, well, it'd be nice if you didn't have to have this big honkin' wallet that looked like a small piece of luggage, but actually just your ordinary billfold would be great. So yeah, I used to play with an idea of having just a half card in there. And then as you tried to pull the card, make it look like the card was coming out, you actually scooched, you pushed it in. But this is much easier, it's just timing the closing on it, okay? So you need your billfold, have any card already in the wallet there. This I've closed, ambitious card. I used to, not so much in the last 5 years, but before then, this to me was something in a bar where I didn't want to have a big deal, just want to keep it moving, and then go into something else. This was a great way to sort of really cap the ambitious card as a closer. So you've got your signed card here, and let's assume we're in a double lift position, okay? So you show a double lift, show the card, put it in the middle, like that, all right? Take out your wallet, show your wallet, square it in, all right? Now, as you show your wallet what you want to be doing, though, well, sorry, let me back up here. Double lift. Take it, slip it in the deck, square it in fairly. Right hand, this can be, it's nice that this is on the table. Say, let's try it one last time, and this time I'll bet the big money. When you show the wallet both sides, at the same time, you're going to push off and get ready under the top card, okay? Drop it right on top. Snap your fingers, open it up. Let that image register. It's very strong. Talk about it coming up right into your wallet. Now, when you come over and you take the wallet off, of course, I've grabbed the card and it's below. Okay, so I've just lifted under the break. It's below. Table that or hand that. The thumb is already right on it, and the timing on this is you close this, you apparently pull from, and don't make a big deal of it. It's just you're here, close, and as you pull it up, lift it up and off the edge. Okay? So here, here, and there. And the nice thing about this is your immediate reset. Okay? So really, definitely, what I love about this is, see, here's the thing about closers, is too many ambitious card closers, they break with the already established plot. To me, making the card appear across the room under someone's wine glass, as magical as that is, that's not ambitious card. Ambitious card is the card keeps rising. It goes up. It goes up. So something, whether it goes up to a wallet in your pocket, whatever, it should go up, not just appear somewhere or vanish from the deck or whatever. It should go up, is my thinking. So, which is what's great about this is that you say, well, this time I'm going to really bet money, boom, and it's going to go up, not just to the top of the deck, but it goes up through your own wallet, which, yeah. And again, in a bar show, using your own wallet, kind of putting your money where your mouth is and taking out a wallet and all that, it's a very commercial image. This is just crazy. What do you get when you get a roll of masking tape combined with Rudy Hunter's misdirectional distant palming from another planet Mars thing? What do you do when you get those two? Add one more little thing, that kick-in move I just taught, where you kind of kick the card in from the palm onto a card case or onto the deck, and now you got something that really shouts climax, real ending on this one. Watch, real simple. Selected card, okay? Here. We're in a double lift position. So, there's a selected card. We turn it over, slip it, apparently, it's an indifferent card, go into the middle of the pack. Do the Hunter thing where you come up, you go, I'm going to put about half the cards on top, about half the cards. One hand top, palm, drop it down. Hand falls to your side with the palm card. Card's outjogged, square it in, hand it to a spectator to give the cards a little bit of a shuffle. Spectator gives it a bit of a shuffle. Now, with either your free hand or the hand with the palm card, whatever you want, you go to your case and you pull out a roll of masking tape. Say, would you put the cards down for a second? Take the tape and tear off about a couple of feet of tape there. That should be great. Wrap it around the deck in any way you want. You can wrap it lengthwise, widthwise, right around the entire pack of cards. Tape the cards together. Now this is an image people remember for a long, long time. The deck, selected card, they saw it in there. They shuffled the deck themselves. They wrapped it in tape, okay? And you still can do the exact same thing as we've been talking about. You can still come over. You can still do the kick move. So in full view, bam. They see one card melt right up through the tape. And that card is the signed card. That's crazy. If you're looking for a really, really, really dramatic ending for your ambitious card, this might be it. Signed card. Say, look, slip it in the middle, snap my fingers, look, it comes up to the top. Say, look, we'll do it again. Take it, slip it in the middle, snap my fingers, it comes up to the top again. Say, we can keep doing this again and again, but to me the amazing thing is not so much that it keeps coming to the top, but the fact that we can even get your card into the middle of the deck. I mean, given that there's 2-inch nails driven through the entire pack. I have played around with Paul Harris's great idea, solid deception, for a long time, come up with many different things with it. And this is, I think, the most commercial thing. I did release something with a bolt, actually, with a bolt and especially punch deck through Elmwood Magic. And it has real virtues of its own, too. However, I found the bolt, because of the length of the bolt and this and that, it kind of caught in the pocket a lot and this and that. And this is something you can make yourself, okay? Get a deck of cards. Wrap it in masking tape, okay? Get 4 or 5 or 6 nails. They should be only a little bit longer than the side of a deck. And with the deck wrapped in masking tape, hammer the nails through the deck. Best thing to do, you'll find it, it's very fudgy. So the thing to do is you should use just a few strikes, very hard strikes, drive it down through. Then, and you should have this on top of a few layers of cardboard, a folded cardboard box. You don't want to hammer directly into your floor. Or if you have a buddy, if you put the deck on your buddy's back, you don't want to hurt him either. And then you're going to get a hammer and flatten. Take a good look at that. You're going to hammer down the ends of the nails off to left and right. And this is something that sits. So this is Paul Harris's Solid Deception. However, Solid Deception, where all the cards were glued together, and what you had was this moment at the end where you said, go ahead to a spectator, cut the cards, and they found that the deck was solid. But I tried it once, and a spectator tried to actually busted the deck open with a cloud of dry glue dust and everything. And the ghost of Christmas Nevers. There wasn't a visual component. It was purely tactile. There wasn't a visual component. This has a nice visual component. You need this. You're obviously going to switch in this deck at some point. And one indifferent card, okay? Voila. Ordinary deck of cards, apparently. Now you just do tilt, and this is, again, Paul Harris's idea. Sign card, basically tilt's easy because you've got heads of nails, okay? Go second from the top, square it in, and you're going to lift up these two as you wrist kill. So you wrist kill and you show, and you put it right in someone's face. There's your sign card. Come back down, take off the top card, really the indifferent card, slip it in the middle again, snap your fingers, lift it up as before, but now you don't have to wrist kill. Show it. Okay? Now you can do this again and again several times. And again, put it in the middle of the deck. In the middle of the deck it goes. Snap your fingers, wrist kill. Take it, put it second from the top, put it underneath again, snap. Boom. Now this ending's the cool part where you can take the single card, put it on top of the other indifferent card and say, the amazing thing is not so much that we keep coming to the top, but that we can even put it in the middle. Lift off the top two cards as one and people just freak out. I mean, there's no explanation. Don't be worried about this other card. It's not like one other card's going to make that happen. You can go south, put this in your pocket, and then on changing your mind, take it back out of your pocket, say, boom, and leaving the other card behind. This image, you can talk about, you can practice for 20 years in magic, you can work on all your fancy stuff. This image is precisely the kind of thing lay people really eat up. Here's a pass that isn't a pass. It is a pass in the sense that it exchanges the two packets, the two halves of the deck. But I always emphasize when sharing this with magicians at conventions and lections and things that don't think of it as a pass. Because so often magicians think of a pass, they think of speed, they think of difficult, they think of you better not flash. Those rules do not apply to the sleeves up pass. I created the sleeves up pass, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. I've only put it on a couple other projects before. Yeah, it's one of those ones that is a larger action. Again, as I always cite Vernon's adage about large action covers a smaller action. It's one of these ones that larger action definitely covers the smaller action. Here, let's take a look at it. The card's been put back in the deck, let's say, in this case, the 7 of diamonds, okay? Now, here is performance speed. You put the cards back and you say, oh, and realize that my sleeves are up, right? I'm being as fair as I can. Now, of course, you're not being fair because you just got the selected card to the top of the deck. So this larger action of pointing to your sleeves, one after the other, is, of course, the cover. Now, please, again, don't think that I'm doing some sort of variation on the classic pass hidden inside here. I'm not, okay? Here's what I'm doing. There's the card. Put the cards back, and I keep a pinky break. Now, I'm holding the cards a lot like I'm about to do a classic pass. But all I do is turn the cards over. All you do is you turn the deck over. Okay, both hands turn over, no action. And because of your grip with the fingers and the pinky, the left hand is going to take away, you're going to turn over, take away the original top half, okay? The original top half is just being taken away. It's being carried away as I point to this sleeve being up. Then both hands turn over simultaneously, and I turn and I point to this one, and I drop this on top. Slow motion, I'll do it again for you. I'm here. I turn. I take away that half, I point, I turn over, I point, and I drop. Performance speed. Selected cards there. Put the cards, pause half a beat. You barely have to, you don't have to bother keeping a really small, I mean, what you can do, probably the most subtle way is to keep is to script the cards, keep a really small break, gesture, pause a beat, and then come over and go into it. But I've done it many times. I go right into it, where I'm just here, got the cards here, and so I say realize both sleeves are up. Okay? Turning, pointing, pointing. It's really important. This is a great example of mirroring, the hands mirroring each other and really sanding off any corners. You get this beautiful sphere, this very ordinary looking sphere where everything looks balanced and there's no suspicious corner to catch on. Okay? Now, I'll mention this with the other passes too, but it's also nice if you can go from a large spread rather than two tight packets, okay? If you can go from the action of a large spread coming in, not that it confuses the eye, but there's more for the eye to take in. So when you go from a spread to squaring the cards, and you come squaring, you turn, you do your move, okay? I think it visually is probably more cover visually for the sleight than keeping both packets perfectly clean. Also, coming in like this, you're more apt to flash your pinky break on the far right, on your far right-hand side. Whereas if you're coming in here, there's more cover, it's already a mess. You squeeze up, you turn, boom, boom. So, one last time, performance speed. Go ahead, put your card back there, 9 of clubs, great. Oh, and realize that my sleeves are up, okay? I'm being as fair as I can. And of course, there it is, the card. I have been working on my classic pass for about 25 years, maybe 25 years, a long time. Nobody gets a classic pass, a pass of any kind that you can count on in the real world and for real people. Nobody gets it in a week or a month or even a year. That'd be somebody dropping a deck of cards off to the side. That happens. Here at Sankey Magic, everybody's into magic. The guy who delivers the pizza, he is holding a deck of cards in his mouth. That's how focused we are on magic here at Sankey Magic. The guy who launders my shirts with his own thumb, he smears on the soap, in his other hand, coin rolls, okay? Here in my world, we're all about the magic. Now, let's get back to the Classic Pass. Classic Pass I've been doing for a long, long time. It's one of those moves, it's interesting. I remember being scared of it a long time ago. And then, you know, you do it, and you, after doing it for thousands and thousands of times in front of people and never getting caught or concerned about it. So Classic Pass. Great for ambitious card, because at some point, you may want to get, like the Jack of Diamonds, up to the top of the deck, right? And I don't have a lot of ego around the pass. I don't try to do it in such a way that, go ahead, you can burn me. I would much rather use natural body misdirection on top of a good pass to make it doubly deceptive, okay? I'm not going to, you know, I never had any vanity around the idea of, okay, I'm going to try to get it so you can just burn it, and, you know, that kind of thing. I found almost every time a magician around the world has said, like, really burn my pass, you can usually see it. So I'm not after that. So here's a Classic Pass. From a little spread of cards, you come in, pinky break, okay? Now, I adjust, okay, I'm here. The pinky goes in, and I immediately pick up both halves up to a higher level, okay? So I'm there. 3 fingers, thumb, pinky, deep in, all right? Now, all you're going to do is pull the top half around and lever the lower half. It's going to lever against the side of the thumb, so that once this is cleared, this is going to go up, that's going to go down, and you're going to go on top. It seems like such a large and obvious action, almost primitive or brutus. A 2 passing Brutus, passing wind Brutus, so boom, okay? That's it. Now, lots of little details I've added to this, all traditional, nothing original with me here. Is the 2 places a pass will typically flash is on the front edge and on the upper corner, okay? So I am going to do a little gentle shake. Now, I do it in my pass, and so you can, you know, it's such a soft, it looks like nothing. Now, let me do the pass for you a few times here, so you can get a sense of, I think through the camera you'll get a sense of how imperceptible it can be. Okay, let me do it face up, because if I get lucky and get a particularly good one, you might think, oh, Jay didn't really do the pass. Soft. I'm going up, I'm in, and then as I go from this position down to this position, that is when I'm going to do the action. And then my right thumb riffles the edge. It is not a riffle pass. A riffle pass is when you do the action and there's more pronounced. You're trying to get a speed thing. You're riffling up the edges of front and back, okay? This is more of a Classic Pass with a little, notice when I work for real people in the real world, I go from here to here, I do the pass, I do an all-round square up, I'll do everything to cover the corners to make sure I don't flash over here or I don't flash over there, as little as possible, okay? Soft. Classic Pass, you really have to make sure that you do it with your arms, your hands, your gonads. You want to make sure you get your whole body incorporated. Very soft, okay? From this side, pulling down, riffling. From this side, Sorry, I got a double. Now, when you're practicing this, keep it large and loose at first. Make sure the hands are learning what the actions are expected, okay? And only once you get really comfortable, then can you try to go for speed, but don't go for speed right off the bat. Here, this is about as fast as I do it. Okay? Little lilt up and down. That's the only way to get it that I know of, to get it so that if someone's burning it, they see nothing, is that little lilt, that back and forth action, that back and forth action. All right? Nice classic pass, of course, you got a signed card, goes in the middle of the pack, square up the cards, are all round, boom, it comes to the top. Doing a face-up thing. A face-up's nice because it looks even more, you can have a signed card, put it in the middle face-up, okay? Then flick it and comes to the top, or you can put it in the middle face down. And of course, like I just did, use it classic pass that way. I think that is all I have to tell you about the classic pass, except go slowly, learn it slowly, take your time, get it down. Obviously, mirror practice is key for the pass, a lot of mirror practice. And don't get in the blinking habit, right? Please. So many great magicians, you see this, and they've got that, they're doing the classic, and they're blinking right on, and sure, it looks good to them. Avoid the blinking, okay? Ask your buddies. If they ever see me blinking at the time I'm doing sleights, stop me right there, because that's a lethal habit, okay? Hard to get rid of that habit once you get it down. Those are some thoughts on the classic. The turnover pass is typically the pass that is one of the earlier passes that a card magician will learn. It probably has the boldest amount of interior of given visual misdirection, because you're doing not a subtle thing, you're doing a pretty pronounced thing. You're turning over the deck. That is your action. You're turning the deck from face down, typically, face down to face up, okay? So it's a larger action. It's already got a lot of stuff going on, so there's more cover. The other thing is, it's also, the technique on it is a lot easier to learn than a classic pass pull-around technique, okay? Here's the turnover pass. Let's see here. And it's a nice control, typically. So you've got the ace of hearts, and the idea is that you're going to, and in case I didn't mention this before, I think I did mention one other thing on this project, but as opposed to going from, when you bring in a squared packet to a square packet and go into a classic pass, there's a lot more chance of cracks forming here. There's a lot more heat that you're bound to flash the move more than if you go from a large sloppy thing. The eye almost has to adjust from something big to a smaller thing. And in the adjustment, there's a better chance of successfully getting away with the illusion. Turnover pass. The card is here like before. You square the cards up, and you've got the left first finger curled beneath. You're going to just drop away the lower half. You're going to drop it away. Push it. You're rolling it over. And as soon as it clears the edge of the top, you're going to finish the roll. Okay? So here it is again. Here and here. Now, it's two distinct actions, 1 and 2. But you want to get it, and this is one of these ones again where you're going to make sure when you perform this for people is you want to make it tilted down, okay? Tilted down, it's amazing. There's not much to see, okay? There really isn't much to see here. If you're really looking for it, you'll see a little flash of something, but there's not much to see. Boom, and so what you want to try to do is get these two separate actions down into one action. Note the right first finger is doing a big job of levering. It reaches over, levers, and turns it down into the hand. And down into the hand. Now, rather than trying to hold it out here, if you move the hand in a little bit more, you'll have the back of the hand and the curled fingers to cover much more of the pack. Less chance of flashing. All right? With an ambitious card context, you would use it where you could say 10 of spades. We'll leave it right in the middle of the deck. Hold it your hand for me. They do. You do the pass. You put it right on the deck on their hand. Wave your hand, snap your fingers, and then they find the card is migrated. Migrated. The very rare raccoon falcon. It's scary. Very scary. Here, 8 of spades. Turn over the pack. Square it up. Turn it back over. Boom. turnover pass. I'm pretty sure the first place I learned or saw and researched, started practicing the spread pass was Paul LaPaul's Card Magic book. I think it's the Card Magic of Paul LaPaul. I've seen a lot of different people use the spread pass over the years. Probably one of the best spread passes I've ever seen, this was 15, 20 years ago. Michael Weber does a great spread pass. So if you ever get a chance to see Mike, go up to him and say, "Hey Mike, how you doing?" He's a very tall guy, so you probably like this. "Hey Mike, how you doing?" And to say, "Hey, would you mind showing me your spread pass? I'd really appreciate it." And try to be polite about it. So often people walk up to someone and say, "Hey, I heard you got a good spread pass. Go ahead, blow me away." It's kind of annoying. But I can certainly, yeah, I've certainly used it over the years. One of the things I remember learning from the Paul book is one of the keys to the spread pass is shifting from facing the audience straight to, as you do the move, a slight turn. You don't want to make it too pronounced because then it starts to look like you're doing something. But maybe just a slight turn. So keep that in mind. Spread pass is probably most effective and most deceptive in the real world with people all around you when you're shifting, because this is a larger action. It also covers the move. It also, this movement here, this movement from your right to the left. There's the card there, okay? Now, traditionally, you're going to come in and you're not going to have this upper spread in front or behind. You're going to have it right on top. That's the traditional technique. We've got the 2 of spades here. All right, we'll do it face up for now. As you come in, it's a little like the turnover pass, because as you come in, as soon as the cards contact the edge of the thumb, you immediately start to roll the bottom half, okay? You square these, it clears those cards, and you're squaring. Okay, let's watch it again. So, we're here, we come over as soon as they touch. As soon as the edge of that, I'm rolling. These cards, the moment it's sort of, you want to time it so that the moment they're squared, you're adding the cards on, all right? Now, that's traditional. Some guys prefer, and this is a whole debate among card magicians, some say you should come in fact, behind. The cards shouldn't be square, but in fact, it should be the spread, because that way, when you're done the move, notice that this is forward, and it's covering the front edge of the deck. Other guys contend, and this is more my thinking on it, is in fact, rather than coming in square, cover yourself from the start. Come in there, okay? Do the roll, okay? And then do the add-on there. Performance speed looks like this. 2 of spades, okay? Squaring up the cards, done. So that you can see how important this shifting from one side to the other is. Here, and it's really, and this is definitely, I've never seen anybody attempt a spread pass with a square, because then it's not a spread. But with this squared here, I mean, you barely have any cover now, okay? It's much better to have this large bit of cover here. You're coming in here, and you're squaring up there. Let me show it to you a few more times then so you can see. With any luck, again, I mean, it's one of these things, again, when real-world performance, you've got lots of misdirection. You're doing a comedy bit, or you're turning to somebody else and asking a question. But I want to make sure, ideally, on camera, I'd like you to see that, you know, even visually, if all you're basing it on is no other misdirection other than the technique itself, there still is a lot of natural cover, okay? It's one of those things, don't do fast. You don't do it fast, you do it soft. The card is put back in, okay? Square up the cards, and so it's all done in this action. And again, you can go from a larger, you can do it smaller like this, okay, and then do an all-round square up if you want. If you're feeling, again, more people, more angles to cover. That's when I tend to add more stuff. If I've got people all around me, on top, below, everywhere, then I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. Da 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 da. I'll do whatever it takes to misdirect people. Jiggle passing, the jiggle pass. First person I ever saw, I was lucky enough to see, really work the jiggle pass and do a beautiful job of it was Sir Derek Dingle, Mr. Derek Dingle. Brilliant, amazing, creative, super, you know, just amazingly talented sleight of hand magician. And he used the jiggle pass a lot, and it looked amazing in his hands. And I'll show you one little tip I picked up from him. And yeah, the jiggle pass, one of the reasons why I'm sharing a few different passes, I use that classic pass. It's almost the only one I use. Maybe a one-card riffle pass. I use a fair bit. Other than that, I don't use the jiggle much. The turnover pass I use a fair amount. The spread pass I don't use much at all. I wanted to show it to you because I know some people like it. Happy to teach it to you, but I'm definitely not an inspired practitioner of the spread pass. We'll get to that. The jiggle pass is a lot like the classic pass in the sense that you've got the same grip, okay, with the pinky in and 3 on top. And again, it's off the palm. It's sort of up more on the fingers here. But rather than trying to accomplish the pass under cover like this, the jiggle pass, rather than working vertically, works more horizontally. Because what you do is you're going to pull the packet rather than straight around. It's actually going to go back a bit. Let's see. It's like that. So maybe for about, well, the lower, while you're moving the lower packet forward a little bit, the other one goes back. Now, the idea there is to minimize the flash at the front because more of it's happening at the back of the deck, okay? I'm doing it slowly here. I'll show you this side here. So rather than pulling it straight around, you're sort of pulling it back and around. Back and around, okay? Like that. This action, the nice thing about the jiggle pass is inherent in the visual misdirection of it is an intuitively powerful idea, and that is you are squaring the deck. You are squaring the deck. So when you do the jiggle pass, okay, you've got an internal motivation, okay? Now again, when I perform this for real people, I always deliberately, I'm swinging my body around, I'm saying something, I'll time it with a joke or something while squaring up the cards. So all that's usually there. So for the camera, I'm sure I'm flashing a lot more than usual, okay? Boom, which is always a great guy on camera. He says, oh, I'm sure I'm flashing more than I usually do in the real world. So jiggle pass. Now, whenever I saw Derek Dingle, excuse my British accent, he'd go, all right, hello, love. Want a cup of tea? He'd say, gonna put the cards in the pack, maybe about, sorry, Derek Dingle. Gonna put the cards in the deck, gonna put the card, maybe 15, maybe 20 cards down, and he'd always slide the top cards back. Okay, really nice detail, but there, that's better. Like that. And his hand looks so natural. 5 of clubs, we're gonna put it about 30 cards down, something like that. So this tip, where you're sliding at, right after you do the jiggle, you pull. It was just a brilliant tip, a brilliant way to cover the jiggle pass. So a jiggle pass, the difference between, like I said, the classic pass is you're moving it to the back of the packet. Okay, it's going to the back a little bit more, and undercover. So when you learn these actions, make sure you exaggerate them when you're starting off learning this stuff. Do them really exaggerate, and then you slowly tighten, okay? Never try to, I know what you want. You want to be able to pick it up and do it. And so you get these young magicians who they go, well, look, there's my pass. And, oh my God, it's like some sort of earthquake going on there. So just a light touch. Squaring them up. That is the jiggle pass. What is it about the ambitious card effect that makes it so gosh darn popular? Now, it's popular with magicians, and in no small part because it's so popular with lay people. I mean, everybody, every magician, I don't care if you've been in magic a year and a half or if you've been in it 25 years, chances are if you do any sleight of hand magic, if you do any card magic, you do an ambitious card handling. Now, the trick's been around forever, since it's often credited to, in the mid-1800s, to a magician, you probably never heard of him, called Gustav Alberti, is often who it's credited to. But there's evidence to suggest it was even earlier than that, okay? So it's been around for a long, long time. And there's so many things about it. I've thought about it a lot, and there's so many things about it that I really think are really interesting. It's a bit paradoxical, the ambitious card effect, because rule number 1, right, in magic is never repeat the effect. The ambitious card doesn't just repeat the effect. It celebrates, it revels in repeating the effect. So it breaks that rule right away, okay? Now, if you can have an effect, though, one of the reasons why you're not supposed to repeat an effect is, theatrically it can be quite dull, right? Boom, boom, boom. Second is method-wise, the whole notion of keep maintaining the mystery, and if you repeat the same effect in the same way, then, pretty soon they're going to catch you on it, and the magic, the illusion is going to fall. That's why the ambitious card is so interesting, because the challenge is to repeat the effect with varying methods, okay? And how do you repeat it in such a way that it builds, that is dramatically interesting? Rules of thumb, for starters, what I like to think, the early phases start off, they're not particularly visual, typically, in my mind. They get more visual as you go. Second, there's what I call sort of intra-deck and extra-deck. You know, sort of you sticking to the deck, and then typically the last phase or the second to last phase and the last phase involve leaving the deck behind, adding something more dramatic to it. This is something I've always done, whether it's the card now goes to the pocket, it goes to the card case, it becomes folded up on a paper clip, masking tape is wrapped around the deck. There's that last oomph, because that's what a good closer should say with Ambitious Card. It should say, this is it. This is the end. There's no topping this. It should shout, ta-da, done. Okay? So when you work on your Ambitious Card, and this is what inspired this entire project and why I've been really passionate about wanting to share this for a while, is you want a variety of techniques and you want to watch your pacing. What I like is sort of a boom, establishing it, you know, first phase, boom. And then boom, the repetition, which is very magical because everything else you've done you probably didn't repeat, right? So boom, and then did it again, boom. And now, what do? You do boom, a third repetition, or do you go boom, boom, and then boom, boom, and then one like test conditions, boom, you know, boom, going in, very fair, on top, and then dot, 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 boom. Okay, you have to, you know, I probably sound crazy, but you have to figure out for yourself. And you're going to find in this compilation a whole lot of stuff, a real mixed bag of openers and closers and middlers and slights. I really want it to be a pretty complete compendium, if you will, of stuff. Couple other thoughts. First off, don't get too hung up on just signatures. People can put a signature on, they can draw a little frog because the frog will hop to the top of the deck. They can do a doodle, they can write their pet's middle name to make it distinct. They can write down their phone number, hey, hey, hey. A little guy. So you can also, I've had sometimes I'll go to a table and sort of on impulse, I'll have everybody sign the card. 2 people, 3 people, 6 people, 8 people sign the card. Now, sure, it slows you down, but if you want to improv and have some fun with people, it's a great way to get everybody involved and add layers of meaning to the one card. I'm sure I mentioned somewhere else, I mentioned here paper-clipped. Sorry about sounding like a plug, but it's simply truth, and I know a lot of magicians do this too. Because paperclip requires you to carry so little, a folded card on a paperclip, it's my effect called paperclipped. It's now out on a special edition. It's certainly the one thing I pair up with this effect the most, just so you know. And it certainly works well with it. I guess, so work on your tempo, work on the variety of handlings. And one last cautionary note before we jump right into all the different techniques and presentations and ideas on this project. One of the other dangers, dramatically, with repeating an effect is you play right into one of the most unfortunate tendencies or cliches in magic, the challenge. The magician who he doesn't just fool people, he makes them look like fools. He reduces them, or she reduces them to fools. Be careful with Ambitious Card. It's such a great effect. It's got so much going for it. But in the repetition, doom, 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 if you're not careful with how you're presenting it to people, it will totally feed right into the idea that you are challenging them. And so the puzzle mindset kicks in. They don't enjoy it. So do everything you can, what I do, and I try to really play it down. I mean, there's no danger in playing this effect down so much that it doesn't come across, because you're going to do it 3 times, 5 times, 6 times, 8 times, whatever. So play it down. Be casual. Have fun with it. Enjoy it yourself. Make sure you're doing everything that you can to not be coming across as someone who's just trying to challenge people, because that would be a shame. With such an incredible piece of card magic, it would be a darn shame if, because of a little bit of theatrics in your performance, or your performer personas, it somehow all fell down to this ego-oriented challenge. Anyway, enough sermonizing. There's some thoughts, a mixed bag. I think there's a lot of stuff on here. Make sure, Royal Road to Card Magic, great book. Royal Road, Hugard and Browie's Royal Road to Card Magic. Also expert card technique, for sure. I'll look at Marlowe's stuff, look at Vernon's stuff. These are the giants, particularly this plot.